Dylan, a weekend, what is the biggest difference between NFL training camp and what you've been in before?
I'll probably just say the time commitment and, the intentionality. Everybody shows up, comes to work, ready to put the work in. And, every day you can't get a day back, and everything has, great importance. And time is starting to move fast, so every day matters.
With Quinshawn out, how much more do you feel like is on your shoulders, on your plate, to kind of fill the gap and, take on maybe a bigger role?
Man, I just come in prepared the same way I've always came in. I don't really feel pressure. I just have standards of how I want to operate, and the standards obviously my coaches set for me, and that's the standard I try to hold myself to every morning I wake up.
If you're called upon to be the workhorse back in place of Quinshawn, 3-down back, whatever, for the first how many ever games of the season, how poised do you feel? How ready do you feel for that kind of opportunity?
Once again, I'm just a day-by-day kind of person, I got to lay the foundation down right now, in training camp. And, obviously battle it out with everybody we have in the room. We all push each other. But, being with Coach Duce, amazing coach. We got a lot of other great coaches on this staff. If I do things the right way, if we all do things the right way, we should all be ready to be mentally in that spot to, do whatever it takes to go win football games.
How much of Deuce's personal experience, how much does he convey that with you guys?
Yeah, you can feel it every day, and it's a different type of connection when he's played the game at the highest level for, many years. So, he coaches from what he knows what works, and with a lot of passion. So I love that, he hard on us because he wants us to be the best. And that's it, I take that with a grain of salt every day.
Through minicamp and through the first part of training camp, what do you feel good about, the things that you've put on tape, the things you've been able to put on the field? What have you been able to show this team and your friends out there?
Just finally getting back to, OTAs, we really weren't allowed to run the ball too much, just because of the contact and stuff. But, finally get back in the swing of things of, getting behind, pullers, getting behind O linemen, really getting back into the field of, actually running the ball. I think I'm getting a good feel for that, and just the understanding of the playbook. I think I'm putting confidence in the coaches that I could dissect all the information, whether I'm out wide, whether I'm in the backfield, and I take a lot of pride in that.
Duce was talking about the bag drill, you hold the bag up, and the van drill you guys do. What's the hardest thing that he's put you through?
And so he's big on just, he does nothing extra. Like he says, what we do is what we do, and it's not going to change, So it's a repetition thing. I just think the combination of everything, just back to back and end it every single day, is what gets you, You go from the band to the sandbags, and everything we do is weighted, to put power in that, have explosion and stuff. But like what he does, he does what he knows works.
How much are you looking forward to having Quinshawn back when he is able to rejoin you guys, and how were you guys maybe starting to develop some good synergy together?
Yeah. Obviously, I can't speak too much on the, situation, and I, pray for everybody involved in it. But we were definitely developing that relationship. But I'll speak no further about that. I know as much as y'all do.
You mentioned Duce being hard on you guys. He was saying that he wouldn't want to play for himself as a player. How do you feel about being coached hard?
Yeah, like I said, you got to take it with a grain of salt. He's not attacking you personally, and I don't ever feel like he's attacking personally. He's just attacking the play on the field, to be the best every single day. So, like I said, he's had experience with it, had experience with a lot of other great backs. So it's like, why am I going to be the one to argue with that? I want to be the best I could be.
We asked you about that hit. Is there a party that almost likes being hit like that relishes that kind of physicality, getting to do that?
I really don't like being hit, to be honest. Like, if I can, I like to stay up on the ground. Stay up with my feet running. But it definitely the welcome back to football, type. So
Telling the truth. Get him.
I'm over here telling the truth. I'm gonna find him.
Dylan, how have Jordan and Pierre just kind of provided any sort of leadership for you, and kind of as you've gotten acclimated, how have they helped you in this process?
Yeah, just with the actions, through the actions, in the meeting room, I love our meeting room because it's just an open discussion. Coach engages everybody, making sure we're retaining information. But Jerome and Pierre have been great. They had their fair share of years in the league. So it's things to learn from both of them, and they've been sharing it, at how they know how.
Coach O'Shea yesterday said that his group was looking forward to the pads on so they could help in the run game. What's it been like, you working with the wide receivers? How they been a part of your guys' development in your room?
No, they definitely been putting a great emphasis on that, and that's a big emphasis. Just this team in general, everything. It's a team sport, so just like the quarterback can't get the ball off unless we protect. Big runs happen when receivers block down the field, and it's a big emphasis on that. And I'm seeing everybody is giving 100% effort in that.
Dylan, Duce was talking about physicality, and he's like, he expects that in everybody. It's almost like a mindset instead of a size.
Yeah.
Can you kind of expound on that and how you feel like that? Because you mentioned you didn't like quite getting hit, but how has that kind of changed for you as you kind of gone through this process the last couple of months?
It's not that I don't like getting hit. I just don't like getting tackled. That's the thing, and I think that's the mindset that he goes to. Whatever you can to do up to stay on the ground, to stay off the ground. That's my mindset. That's kind of how I've been in college. If you go back and watch, I don't like getting tackled, like for real. Whatever I could do to stay up, I'm gonna try to do that. So I don't think it's something I have to adjust to, because that's kind of how I've been playing football my whole life. And yeah.
I know you haven't had many reps with Miles yet, with the pads on and 11-on-11s, but what do you think that's going to be like, and what have you experienced just in the limited amount of time that you've had going against him so far?
Oh, I mean, you can see, definitely just the technician, and everything he does. Tenured vet, has, a lot of experience. So, yeah, man, I'm glad he's on our team and stuff like that. But it's definitely going to, help me get better. I love going against great D linemen. It makes me have to, make different cuts, be a little more physical in the backfield. And, yeah, I'm just excited to, play with a lot of great players on this team.
Dylan, you didn't catch a ton of passes last year. You did probably over the course of your college career catch more than a lot of backs did. Where do you think you are with that stage of your game?
I think I'm developing real well, as far as learning the playbook, being able to do that with me, whenever they see the need to do that with me. But, yeah, man, just catching jugs every day, just going out there being, intentional on my work in that aspect. That's something that if I could get out in the open field and, be one-on-one, that, everybody wants the opportunity. So that's what I strive to work for.
Duce was saying that before you guys ever even hit the field, when you first get here, everyone sits around and shares their why. What is your why? What motivates you out there?
Yeah, my biggest why is my faith. I believe we're all put on this earth, regardless of what you believe in. I believe we're all put on this earth for a reason. It's not just, by luck that I'm a part of the Cleveland Browns right now. And I don't know where I'll be in 5-10 years, I don't know if I'll still be in the league, but all I know is that I got this opportunity right now. And I'm going to give my all to it, because it's a bigger purpose that I'm here for right now. Secondly is my family. They put everything into me, my brothers, my mom, my dad, grandma, grandpa. I have a lot of support. My grandfather isn't here no more. He a big reason why I do this. Just living on for the people who can't be here right now, and legacy, obviously. Some people feel like when you leave this earth it doesn't matter, but what you do impacts people on this earth even after you're gone. Like, if you live a bad life, it's going to impact the people that you're around, especially if you have kids. And if you live a good life, and you affect positive people, that's going to hold its own weight. So I'm just a firm believer in all that, and that's why I do what I do every day.